made for elevation. I'm a soldier, won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping and the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from my cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up, we're rising up, rising up, we're rising up. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. Thank you for being here tonight. We have some special guests in studio tonight. We're only 5 days away from elections time, so we're going to talk about all sorts of things. We have a lot of questions that came in from the audience and from our seniors about what some of these candidates' plans are for the future. So we're gonna pose those questions to them, and we will get responses. We're going to talk about the Finance Committee meeting. As you know, if you joined us last night, Mr. Councilman Carabetta jumped in and was telling me about the Finance Committee meeting that he had attended. I watched it today, and he was absolutely right. It's absolutely craziness. And again, the goal of our majority leader wanting to keep the public from having the ability to have a voice in whether or not we should spend $10 million, $13 million really, on a new library. So we'll get into all that. But if you're new to the program, you're just joining in for the first time, I am Joe Vollano. I am your host and your guiding light through all the craziness that's going on. And I'll try to guide you through all this political nonsense that is being spewed all over. And as I said, I will guide you to these last 5 days of this campaign season, and we will do our best to make sure that every single voter that we can find is informed and goes to the polls and makes a good choice for the city of Meriden and all of its inhabitants. So if you always, if you want to be part of the show, you can call in 203-697-9610. Again, 697-9610. Or you can email us straighttalkjv@gmail.com. If you're in one of the chat groups, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can always join the chat groups. They are always up and running, and I see they're usually always very interesting on the things that are being said over there. Sometimes I have to read them 2 or 3 times over. But let me not prolong it anymore on who we have in the studio here with us today. And let me just cut over to them. There they are. There is our Republican mayoral candidate, Elaine Cariotti. I know she just got done. She's kind of warming up, even though it's cold in the studio here. So I know she's trying to warm up. She just got done sign waving out there on Paddock Ave, if you didn't see her. And I think this morning you were at Four Corners? Yeah. Over at Four Corners. And then, of course, the gentleman next to her right, my left, is no other than Dan Zabrowski. Like I said, what can I say about Dan Zabrowski? Dan Zabrowski is the most informed person in this entire city. And we're going to use a lot of that over the next hour because I have a lot of questions for him because he did attend all these finance committee meetings. So I'm going to get a little bit more in depth on what went down. So Mr. Hansen is already on board. Let's see. What has he got to say already? You're already going. Library purchase too. Problem solved. Well, wait a minute, Mr. Hansen, are you against the expansion of the library? You're gonna have to clarify those remarks because from what I just read, it would be that you're once again going against your Democratic colleagues and voting against. You'd be against the expansion. Now, listen, for people who don't know, there's my black screen there that you see there. I hit the wrong button. I got to bring that over here. There I am. And there they are. So you guys saw my green screen behind me is all, that screen blacks it out. But Dan, tell me about this whole thing because you were on it last night in real time. What are you for and what are you against? Are you for the total overhaul that was approved back in 2019, or are you for the expansion?
I'm totally against the expansion, only due to the fact the council gave them.
You got to bring that right up to you.
The council gave them money, and they sat on it for over a year. Nothing materialized. All of a sudden, now we're into COVID. Oh, this is going to cost it. Cost has gone up. Bottom line is cost is coming down. They failed to realize that looking at this whole, and myself looking at the concept of this thing, they're going to change the whole facade of the library. They want to make it a glass entrance. I mean, are we like in Alice in Wonderland?
Well, they wanted to move the entrance 150 feet to the so anyone who's familiar with the library, where the door is now, with the expansion, it moves, and this is really what costs the most money for the expansion, is they moved the door from where it is now to like 150 feet to the right so that it lines up with the back door that will line up for the expansion.
Exactly, and the sad part is that I threw that out there when they held it at the ARP meeting, and I said, gee, I says, you people got money to put in a freight elevator. You've yet to put the freight elevator in. Where's that money?
Right.
Did you, did it mysteriously get lost? And God only knows why you need a freight elevator in a library.
Yeah. Now, Elaine, how do you feel about it? Do you think I think, again, to me, $8 million was plenty of money. It was 6.8 from the city plus $1 million from the state. It brought up to about $8 million. That was to totally renovate the entire building, gut it out, start from scratch, and build it out to the 21st century. I think that was a good deal, especially for what we needed it for. Are you for the expansion?
Well, I think $8 million is a lot of money. For that, I think they could build a whole new building, top to the bottom, everything. So,
well,
I mean, when you renovate, it costs a lot more. But, people complain sometimes about where it's located and everything else. Maybe they should pick a different area and just build a whole new building.
Yeah.
Price.
I mean, for where it is, I like the location where it is. If I had to remove any building from Miller Street, it'd definitely be the health department. The health department should be teamed up with the seniors, and the seniors should be moved over to the green. That for me personally, that's how I see the best use of moving buildings. For the library, listen, library is what it is. It's a decent building. I think the building itself is structurally sound. It just obviously needs a new roof, and which I think it's already done, right? The roof was already done, I believe, and it just needs to be updated. It hasn't been updated since the 70s.
Well, I know I was there a couple weeks ago talking to the youth, and in the conference room was freezing, absolutely freezing. And I said, does this system not turn off? And they're like, oh, it's broken. It was so cold. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Now, Dan, if I remember correctly, they're asking for $1.9 million for HVAC. That was in the original plan. What is the other one? What is an extra $1.9 million for?
This is what was asked of Kim Paniani, and I said the same thing. You already had a contract, and I supposedly found that it was in there. And I'm sorry, but the sad part is they don't think people just listen, and they don't understand that people are out there and listening to what I have to say, but they're mesmerized by Tom Welsh, first of all. And then our head of our director of our library, he's looking at this thing, and I'm saying, what are we doing here? And he says, well, we're going to improve. Improve what? I mean, Tom Welsh made the most asinine comment the other night was 750 people a day come in and out of that library.
Yeah. Well, there's no way 700 people are using that library per day. And that question did come up, and someone gave me that answer also. And my first question was, okay, well, how do you determine how many people come in through a day? And they said the doors, because as you come in, there's a click on the front door. I was like, okay, so if somebody goes out, if a worker goes outside, has a cigarette, comes back in, that counts as a new person, correct? They're like, yes. So really, maybe 300, if you're lucky, a day come walking through there. I mean, because I tell you what, I go in there and I sit there, and you got the adults sitting there by the computers. They'll go in and out, in and out, in and out, and it's like, wait a minute, if that's the number you're using, then it's grossly inflated.
And it's sad that, the people are hoodwinked by figures. Because Artie Petroselli's old saying was, liars figure and figures lie.
So, the thing I caught very interesting through the whole, well, first of all, the entire Democrats, all the Democrats are for it, are for the expansion. They want to spend $13 million on a library. When in 2019, 3 options were given, and one was voted on by the entire council. That was, I believe, unanimous, if I remember correctly, yes, for the $7.8 million. So I just don't see, and I think Dan Renee put it perfectly correct. Why are we disrespecting the vote of 2019 now? It just doesn't make any sense to me. This was already taken care of. So why are we talking about this again?
The other part is, I don't know if you watched everybody should go in there and watch that finance meeting. Here's Bruce Fontanella saying, oh, we got all these other places we could meet and everything else. Why do we need these rooms? Why do we need this? And then all of a sudden, boom, Bruce votes for it.
Well, listen, that's Democrats. Listen, if one thing out of nothing else about Democrats, they stick together. They vote together. Because that's absolutely correct. There are so many meeting rooms around this city that you can meet. You do not need the library. You do not need a huge expansion with tall ceilings. You have to heat it. You need to cool it. You need to make sure the electricity. You got all these things. You need to maintain it. It's going to cost the taxpayers. And on top of it, if you expand the library, that means you're going to be expanding programs, like Mr. Carabetta said last night. You're going to be the cost of running the building is going to go up. Who pays for this?
The other sad part about that is the Augusta Center. You got 3 floors on the Augusta Center. These could be meeting rooms too.
They are meeting rooms.
And so where are you trying to tell me that you need more meeting rooms?
And even in the library itself, on the outskirts of the library, of the main room, are meeting rooms.
Correct.
That you can meet in. In fact, our state reps hold a meet and greet in the big room every year. I just don't get why I know why, because they like spending money and they like to sit there and say, hey, look what I did. Rhodey said it perfectly. He's like, oh, well, it's only $3 million. Yeah, but you're bonding that $3 million. So how much interest does that cost? And he came up with a thing, oh, well, bond rates are so low, it's like free money. There's no such thing as freaking free money.
Right.
But again, this is the mentality of the other side.
They must think we're dumb. I just can't fathom the fact that people cannot see this. And come election, you got to remember something. We see it, but nobody else does. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like I said, your opponent, I know the mayor doesn't have a real vote in it, but he's come out vocally in support of the expansion, which again cost the city double of what we already approved. Double. We got pissed about the whole referendum after that got cut, and then, after they cut the budget, 3 months later we were $250,000 above where we originally started. But this is what caught me very, very interesting, because this is liberals. It's all about control. It's all about what they want, and you do not have a say. And it was quite interesting when the majority leader, Sonia Jelks, asked, how much is this going to cost us, because are we under the limit of a public referendum? So anyone who does not know, any project over $10 million is open for anyone to go and try to public referendum it. So therefore, you'd have to go get signatures, just like we did with the budget. We'd have to go get signatures, and then it would go, except this would go on the ballot for the following year. But she's more concerned about suppressing the people's right to go referendum. That's what caught me amazing. In fact, I wish I had that part of it. In fact, I do have that part of it. So anyone who goes back and watches this video, it's at hour 122. Well, it's at 120. If you started at an hour and 20 minutes, you'll hear Sonia, the majority leader, start to speak. And her biggest concern is to the city manager, are we under the amount so the public cannot referendum it?
Correct.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what's on the ballot this year. That's why you need these two, one at mayor and one at large. That's exactly the reason why. Democrats in this city do not want you to have a say on what happens. You will do as they tell you, and you will like it. And if you don't like it, well, tough. They'll just cut you out.
Very sad thing is, people, you attend meetings, you go there, you see things on the agenda. It's virtually impossible. How do you say that your voice counts at the city council? There's 9 Democrats.
Yeah.
You're lost.
It doesn't matter what you say anyway, because they just dismiss it. They absolutely dismiss it. They don't care what the people have to say or what they want. And that's very unfortunate, because it should be what the people want and what they need.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you what, Mr. Hanson, the CRB is the defining issue of this election. Public safety is the defining issue. This is just one added thing that is not in the favor of Democrats. When you openly try to suppress the public's vote and the public's ability to speak out against something, that tells me everything I need to know about you as a person and your party. Because remember, she's the head of the party. So, Mr. Hanson, she speaks for you because she is the head of your party, really. So if you're okay with your majority leader telling the people you don't have a voice, we want to make sure that we put this just under so you don't have a voice. What does that say for your party there, Craig? It says you guys are afraid of what the people want because you know that everything that you want, the people aren't for. The CRB, 2 surveys came out, both said that we don't have problems with the police department. but yet you guys keep forcing this issue. The library came up, it was voted on. $8 million for a library. Nope. Democrats said, no, we want the full expansion. We want the full kit and caboodle. And if you don't like it, tough crap. We're going to put it just underneath so you can't referendum it. Is that the type of representatives we want in this city? No. Which again is why these people literally give you every reason to say, why would I vote for you? I mean, the Democrats are literally the best cheerleaders for voting Republican. They really are. Because everything that comes out of their mouth, like Hilda Santiago yesterday, my job's to bring home the bacon. No, it's not. Your job is to cut our taxes and let us live in peace without the government up our ass. But see, they don't see it that way. They see it as, I want to take from over here and give it to somebody else so I could get votes. That's liberal logic. That's how they think. That's just their train of thought at all times. And when they don't get something, they're victims. But let's get down to some questions from the audience. So I got to get over to my email screen here. So for Elaine. Making sure I'm reading it correctly. Okay. I don't know if I agree with this or not, but so this was from the mayor. The current mayor seems to be a very smooth talker. How do you find yourself trying to get around that? I don't know if I really agree with. I don't know if I really agree with that. I mean, is he comfortable speaking in public? I guess yes. But I don't think half of what he says makes any, Well,
listen, I think Kevin speaks very well. He has had a lot of practice. I am just an average person. I'm in a business world. I deal with my customers, and I'm not as polished.
I'll disagree with you. I'll disagree with you on this. You're not a regular person. You're not an ordinary person. Again, just someone who just doesn't want to toot her own horn, but I'll toot it for her. She is someone who, again, is not only dedicated to her family, but dedicated to the residents of the city of Meriden. She does a lot to raise our tax base with buildings of homes here in the city. You lived here your entire life. You raised your two kids here. No, you're not ordinary because. Look what you've done with just look at fundraising for the Republican Party this year. I saw an article come out late tonight about fundraising. We'll get into that in a little while. But listen, Republicans spent $40,000. That's unheard of. I think the average, if you look at years past, is like $8,000, if that. And we've racked in 40,000. That's due to Elaine. I mean, that you had a huge part of that. I mean, granted, yeah, the town committee, backed you up with things you wanted to do, but I think that again, that's impressive in of itself in a city that Republicans are outnumbered 2-1 to Democrats, and I think 4-1 to unaffiliated independents. So to sit there and say you're keeping track. Or Republicans are keeping track with Democrats. And they were all small donors. We're going to get into it because I tell you what, this article came out. I thought it was phenomenal because it just showed where the real public is at. Where Democrats and the mayor are getting money from outside the state, bigger amounts. Where I think one of your, other than your brother who was $1,000, your next biggest was like 200.
I had a couple of 500s, but yeah, a lot of 200.
Oh my God, you're telling me the Record Journal messed up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh boy,
I did.
Mike, you're slipping, buddy. The Record Journal, of course. Come on, who didn't expect the Record Journal to? Who didn't think the Record Journal to miss something? they're jokes as it is. But listen, so no, you're not ordinary.
Well,
You're going to be a true asset to the mayor, and like I said, you're going to be the first woman mayor. Yeah, which would be pretty impressive. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be I'm looking forward to a clean sweep because I still think that this is the best group of candidates the Republicans have ever put out. I think that all together, this is an tremendous slate. And listen, I think you put a nice article out about how you feel the mayor position is.
Right.
It's probably more credit than I've ever given the mayor's position. But after reading it, I was like, well, maybe she has a couple points there. But
listen, I'm a very dedicated person. When it comes to getting something done, I'm all in. And when somebody tells I can't get something done, I even push harder. So for me, I look at it as something that has to be achieved and something that needs to come out on the other end and be very successful. So when I'm all in till I succeed. So I want everybody in the city to realize that is definitely who I am. I love to succeed. I love the satisfaction. So if I get their vote and I'm elected, they will see amazing things happen. And not only that, but the slate that I'm running with, we are a great team together.
And that's the key. It is a team. It's a team effort. So, and that's really important because you need to make sure that the people that you're associating yourself with and that you're running with, when you guys do get elected, you guys are a cohesive team so you guys can actually get stuff done. And that's something that the Republicans have this year. I mean, straight down the line. Yeah. So, and there's a lot of them. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do, especially like Norberto Gonzalez. I'm really, really excited to see what he's going to do on the council because he has he's a soft-spoken guy, as you can see if when he was on the show here or if you watched him on a debate, he's a very soft-spoken guy. Yeah, I call him the gentle giant, but I mean he has a lot of great ideas.
He does.
A lot of great ideas, and I never even thought about the senior center down the green until he said it. Mm-hmm. So. Listen, we got 5 days. We got 5 days for you guys to finish getting the message out there. I know you're out there every morning and every afternoon.
I love it. I love when people go by, they're beeping, waving, saying that they're going to vote. I think that excitement drives me even more. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait for election night. I really am.
That makes two of us. Honestly, I can't wait for this whole thing to be over. Every day I wake up and it's like, all right, we're almost there. We're almost there. But I mean, you both put in the time and the effort. Dan, like I said, you attend every single friggin' meeting there possibly is just about. So, I mean, listen, if just on pure experience, even them being on the city council already, we still beat them. So it's gonna be very interesting. And I definitely think the message getting out. Listen, they're scared. The fact that they're trying to match everything Republicans are doing, I mean, they have a mobile billboard going around now. Why? Because you saw 3 billboards come up for Republicans. You got Kevin's desperate attempt to sit there and say that he supports the police department. When right here, I mean, we're getting into this on Sunday. Remember this? We're going to bring this back. I know a lot of people didn't, probably if you didn't listen to it, the resolution declaring racism a public health crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Democratic Party right here. That's your Democratic Party. And we're going to talk about that on Sunday. Because if you are even a little skeptical on where Democrats stand in regards to the police department, no, it's right there. That's where they're going. That's how they really feel. And I know, Craig, you're about to come up. Well, didn't Mike Carabetta and Dan Bernay vote for it? We all make bad votes from time to time. And they've changed course, and they've been defending the police department. Liberals and the Democrats on this council have stuck to this resolution more than anything else. And that is going to be the biggest thing.
interject one thing?
Sure.
Again, so everybody out there knows, again, we hired a new police chief in there for 1 year, turned this place around. I don't care how you say, oh, there's shootings and everything. It's all over the United States and the world, not just there.
Well, listen, when every statistic will show you when the economy is going downward, crime goes up because people get desperate, and that's why you're seeing bank robberies. That's why you're seeing them try to rip ATM machines out.
But again, let me just put it back out there again. 169 municipalities in the state of Connecticut. The Connecticut Police Commission honored our chief, only been here 1 year, with an award, a Distinguished Police Chief's Award.
Yep.
Now, how did he get it? Because he was working with everybody, not just in the Imperial Police Department, but everybody out in the public.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he'd been doing the one thing I've been trying to tell Chief Cassette to do for forever, and that's to get the state and federal partners involved in what's going on here, because they have a lot of tools that they could use to kind of squash this whole gang related stuff. So I think he's done a great job, and I think he's a great guy. I think he's very open. He's very approachable, and he has Thursdays at 2. He has open office hours. So go and say hello to him. So I mean, again, I think it's great, and again, I recommend that everybody go and see him.
Don't let him hoodwink him with the fact that you're going to be suppressed. No, I've gone and talked to the chief quite a few times in regards to just a few things around. He says, we're going to get it done. There's a couple other things that I said, well, he says, our new program on the vehicles will be bringing in plate readers. I don't know if anybody's familiar with plate readers, but there were cameras that were mounted on the vehicle. Now they have even more so technology. Scans your license plate. You could be wanted with a felon. You could have an outstanding warrant. You could have anything, and they can read that plate.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's there's so many debates on these plate readers that go on. Some feel it's an invasion of privacy and everything else. I'm kind of torn on them. I don't know how I feel about it.
I feel this because there was an incident up on Gwen Road here in Meriden. The car was stolen. It was sitting on the street over there, and then they used it for a home invasion. So how do you again, I know what people are talking about. They're saying it's invading my privacy. Really, I mean, you don't own the license plate.
Yeah. Listen, don't let my libertarian side come out, because then I'll be like, well, why do I need a license plate? Why can't I just have a vehicle inspection every year, throw a sticker on, and I don't need anything, and I'm good. So you're going to bring my libertarian side out. It's not going to be pleasant, and then we're going to be...
I understand everybody's privacy. I mean, again, these are for criminals, not the public.
Right, but again, and I don't want to get into this too much, because obviously, we got more important things to talk about. But I don't like taking away freedoms and the rights of 99% for the 1% that may be using it for crimes. So that's my only point when I talk about invasion of privacy. First of all, because then they can sit there and timestamp you where you were, where this and that. First of all, it's none of your business where I am, and it's none of your business what I'm doing. So, and again, no right to sit there and scan my license plate if I'm not doing anything inappropriate. Absolutely. So if there's a suspicious vehicle, okay, maybe it's sitting on the side of the road, dark light out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I get it, but it becomes a slippery slope on other things, and so I don't even want to get into that at the moment. That's we can have a whole conversation about that. So the next one was for no, Ray's not here. Even though, Ray, they do thank you for your 25 years of policing of our city streets. I don't know if I went for everybody. What's the first thing you guys are going to do when you get elected?
Mine will be for the people. Called We the People, by the people, and for the people. So my objective is I will be there. I'm not going to be the one to say, oh, just email me or just call me. No.
I'm going to push you a little bit harder than that. That's not what they're. I don't think that's what they were talking about. What's your priority? What's your main objective once you get in there? What's the first thing you're going to tackle?
The very first thing, again, senior citizens. We owe these people in the city of Meriden, being myself a senior citizen, I'm over 7 years old, we owe this to them. They are the people who built Meriden. They are the people that should be recognized with a brand new building.
Right, and then not right. Well, I don't want to get punched in the face over here. So, Elaine, number one thing do we want to do at the beginning?
For me, I think the perception of Meriden needs to be cleaned up. So I say definitely roads, sidewalks, and blight. You have to have it looking great to be able to start bringing in economic growth.
I will say this. I hope, I'm gonna say my first thing that I hope you guys do. And I hope my first thing that I'm hoping the first thing you guys do is tell the police department on election night, CRB is off the table. That is, I'm hoping, the first thing that after congratulating everybody, congratulate the police department on doing a fine job of what they do and ensure them that the CRB is now gone.
That's definitely my objective. CRB goodbye. Because why do we have a chief? Matter of fact, the sad part is we have a city manager who has been with the state police for many years. And why didn't he back the chief and say, well, here, this is what I taught these people coming out of the academy.
Yeah, but there's a lot of liberals. Look up in Hartford. There's a lot of liberals that are all for, handcuffing the police department. So even those that have worked there. So I don't get it. I don't get why, but it is what it is. I'm just hoping that the new council turn around right off the bat and says CRB is off the table. Let's move on. Let's move forward together, and let's finish cleaning up the streets. And I think absolutely the blight. Again, perception is reality, and when people see, I think we were driving down. Where were we driving down? We were down at crap. Where were we today? We were down at not the post office, by the gas station, and we were looking at that the warehouse or the factory.
Oh, yes.
I mean, come on. So those are the things, you get those things cleaned up, repurpose them for something else. And again, fixing the blight issue, I think dealing with the absentee landlords, I think is a huge issue. Something I think New Haven did extremely well, which I think we could really feed upon. So I do like where your heads are at for the first things.
Here's one other thing I just wanted to pass off.
Go for it.
To the audience also. The NRB, Neighborhood Rehabilitation, these people, you can't believe the effort that they put in. I attend the meetings and see what they try to do, but nobody from the council comes to these meetings. Nobody really wants to put forward. They invited Kevin. Kevin showed up. They invited Holly Wills. She showed up. But the thing with this is this is where the council should be involved. They have so many things on their plate as far as blight and everything else in the city of Meriden, and nothing's being taken care of. And they're like beating a dead horse. And if it comes to fruition, finally, but it takes forever. Like a house on the corner of Allen Avenue and Johnson Avenue where I live. There was a house over there that was abandoned. I mean, vehicles out there and whatever, but they pursued it, and finally, person left, took the trailer, and something was finally done. But this is almost a year, and why shouldn't we have that?
Well, if we all work together, everything should go smoothly. We all have to work and pitch in together and work
No
with
doubt.
every single department, police, engineering, blight. Everybody needs to all work together to be able to move Meriden in the right direction. And that's part of what we're going to put together.
Correct.
So here's another question again for everybody. How do you separate yourself from the other side? Anyone?
Again, one of the things that will separate me from the other side is they have people on this council who are affiliated with nonprofits. Got one that's affiliated with a school. Got another one affiliated, two of them, matter of fact, affiliated with school. I have no ties whatsoever in the city of Meriden. So when it comes time to vote, I don't have to recuse myself because I'm either,
Well, they don't recuse themselves anyways.
Well,
which I think is a huge conflict of interest.
yes.
So it's just me personally.
But I find that, and people should realize one thing. You're swayed by another vote. No, you can't sway my vote.
Well, let's see that again, but liberals again, and this is one big thing I have with LaRue Graham. It's the same instance, he's like, yeah, in city council, he's like, oh, I'm against this. I don't like the way it was done. I don't like the procedural side. But then he goes and votes for it. It's like, you can't sit there and spew that and then turn around and then vote for it. I mean, come on. I mean, where's your spine? But again, that's something I think liberals just don't really have. And I think it's one thing I said when Millie turned around during one of the debates and said, oh, well, Mike and Dan voted against the contract. I was like, okay, well, I'm sure they had their reasons, but at least they voted. At least they had the courage to sit there and say no, and then they ended up voting for it for whatever reason. I was like, but at least they had the vote. Where's the courage and leadership on the Democrat side with the CRB vote? If you guys are all for it and you're all openly for it, then vote for it. But they know it would literally be the nail in the coffin if they turn around and voted for that before the election.
Absolutely.
So what do you think separates you guys, the Republicans, from the Democratic side?
Well, I'm definitely, for myself, I am definitely one of those people that if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm definitely the type of person, if I say I'm going to get back to you, I get back to you. I'm always around. I'm always available. And if I don't like something, I'll let you know, and I stick with what I say I'm going to do. So that's definitely who I am.
Okay, this one's about my favorite person. How do you believe Holloway and Valentin will affect the race? So anyone who doesn't know, I won't even call her Reverend. Ernestine Holloway is running for mayor and at large. And then you have Pedro Valentin, who is running at large. How do you think they play into this race and how they affect the outcome?
Myself, as the last time I ran, Holloway did take some votes. She was a disgruntled Republican at that time and went over to the other side and just tried to destroy the Republicans in that end of it. But Pedro Valentine, again, I've never heard of the gentleman. He's got ideas, but why not come to these meetings and profess your ideas?
Yeah, I don't think any of them do. How do you think they're going to affect it? It's in your mayor race, to be more specific.
Ernestine, I don't really think she has a chance. She's run so many times for so many things. It's just repeat. And I think she's just looking for that one day that maybe it will,
So I'll give my view on it. I think for mayor, I don't think it really is inconsequential. She usually gets, I think, 240 votes. I think she got last time. I don't think. It might. I hope it doesn't come that close. I hope it's a landslide. But I say for at large, I think it does matter a little bit more because you have two candidates that are running at large. You lost by 137. So that can mean something. Now, I hear the name Valentin, I think liberal, or I think Democrat. And I think a lot of Democrats think Democrat. Whether or not they know who he is or what family he belongs to, the last name does mean something. And so do I see a couple of Democrats, maybe some old school Democrats maybe voting for him, thinking that he's someone else? Hey, listen, some of these elections come down to, mere single and double digit votes. So anything is possible. I think it's actually a good thing for Republicans this year. Because I tell you what, there's not a Republican voting for either one of them, I don't believe. So I think it'd be beneficial to the Republican We the People slate this year. And again, I think always having the We the People slate cross-endorsing is always a good thing. So it gives those hardcore Democrats an outlet to vote for Republicans. Because you don't know how many times I hear, I'll never vote for a Republican, but I will vote for him on the We the People slate. It's like, that doesn't even make any sense. But that's just people's psyche. So it just is what it is. So let's see what else we got. Dan.
Yes, that's me.
Since you attend so many meetings now, how will it feel being on the city council and not having to attend so many meetings?
Well, guess what? It's not going to happen because I'm going to be at those meetings. I see when I attend these meetings right now, how many people from the council are really there to state their opinion. Because I went to the rescue plan meeting the other night, and there was a councilman there, and the chairwoman says, "Would you like to speak?" Didn't say nothing. And I say to myself, this is another avenue I look at, is the fact that you're representing your people in the city of Meriden, especially at large. If you can't attend these meetings and not know basically what's going on, you shouldn't be on the council.
You ready for the second half of that question now?
Yes.
Do you find yourself to be more like a Lenny Rich?
That's my mentor. Sorry, but some people thought he was like a little arrogant or whatever.
So I guess we have to do. I guess we should do a backstory to that, because I'm taking it. Whoever Jillian is knows or was around for the reign of the great Lenny Rich. And for those of you who don't know Lenny Rich is an extremely great guy. I mean, as honorable as they come.
Yes.
But he does not have a filter. He's more like myself, except I think he doesn't care who's around. And he says what he wants, and there is never any question on where he stands on something. And sometimes some people may have found him to be a little over the top during some council meetings. So I don't know if that's where she was going with it or what, but I'll tell you just for the question itself, do you find yourself to be more like Lenny Rich?
And again, looking at basically attending all those meetings, I was flabbergasted when he got up off his council seat and spoke as a taxpayer.
I love that.
And Mike Carabetta just did it
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago at a council meeting. These are the people that you got to remember. I mean, they're on the council, but they are the people who are supposed to be there for their constituents.
I remember someone lost their minds when he got up to speak as a taxpayer. But and I'm glad Mike Carabetta did it, because he just did it, yeah, like you said a couple weeks ago with this whole CRB. So, again, kudos to them. I love that kind of thing. Sometimes some people call it showboating. Do you know what? Sometimes it just needs to be done. Sometimes you just need to take, go to the extreme to get the point across. All right. So let's get to, I want to break from the questions here, because I do want to get to this article that came out on the campaign finance filings. So, basically, like I said, I'm just reading these numbers, just like, really? Republicans raised this kind of money? Republicans spent this kind of money? This doesn't happen here in the city of Meriden. If nothing else, that tells you the momentum you guys have going into the election. Because I'm looking at where Republicans and Democrats made their money. Democrats, a lot of unions, a lot of special interests, a lot of lobbyists. That's where their money came from. Where if you look at Meriden, most of it was just within the city.
Correct. And
there were small donations. So, I mean, yeah, we had a couple thousand ones here or there, but they were from people in Meriden. Your brother who lives here in Meriden. So I love the fact, I love how the RJ decided to come at your brother and say, oh, well, they didn't make a comment, they didn't answer our response if they accepted Donnie's contribution. It's like, what? It's like, wait a minute, are you serious? I was like, I had to read it a couple times.
I don't even know why that deserves even an answer.
Oh, you know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I know. I really thought that they would move on. It's about me, not my brother, for once. So I just don't understand why they would even stoop that low. He's
Really?
my brother. I love him. Listen, He wants me to succeed. There's nothing wrong with
I
that.
think Kevin said it best. Kevin says you need the support of your family.
Yeah.
And listen, why wouldn't you accept a legal contribution from your brother? Why?
Right.
Because he made a mistake in the past. Who cares? We all make mistakes in the past.
Listen,
I was like, I don't get it. Just family is family. You support your family.
Yeah, and my brother has done a lot for the city.
Yeah.
He has regraded the whole entire ball fields in South Meriden. He has regraded up at every time that the YMCA needs him up on the other side. He's done that. He did over $100,000 in donation for food for the food banks. So, they only talk about the bad, not the good.
Of course.
So it's pretty sad. My brother's been a lifelong resident here. My family has. And, for all that we've done in the city, they're only talking about the bad.
Well, they're always going to point at that one thing that,
Yeah, it's kind of disheartening.
But again, I take it for where it's coming from. It's coming from the Record Journal. Therefore, again, they're in bed with Democrats anyways. But I'm looking at your other, but then it has your second highest was from Tomasetti,
Yeah.
which is interesting in of itself. Anthony Tomasetti, Tony Tomasetti was a former city councilor.
Yeah.
And he donated to your campaign.
He did.
So, and his niece happens to be on the city council as one of the most craziest people I've ever met in my entire life. No disrespect, Tony. I mean, I don't know. She's absolutely lost her mind. And listening to her during that finance committee meeting, it's like, where do you come up with this stuff? It's just absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, and of course, if you look at Kevin Scarpatti's, his top contributor too was
His brother.
I mean, come on. Of course it is. Of course it's going to be family. Family's always going to be. If your family's not your top contributor, that throws up a red flag to me.
Right.
So the fact that your brother is makes sense. The fact that his brother is makes sense. And kudos for both the brothers for donating to their siblings' campaigns. I think it is extremely important.
Just one thing, interject as far as Donnie's concerned. Again, to get into the mudslinging, again.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
That's desperate. And he's made his restitution just like anybody else. I mean, and we all have, skeletons in our closet to a certain degree. And the thing of it is just to chastise him in the paper because his sister's running, totally asinine.
Well, like I said, it's the RJ. Do we really not expect them to do something the last week of the election? Come on. It's again. I go back into their endorsement of Kevin and he excels in intangibles. What's that? Kissing your ass? Getting you guys, helping to get you guys buy out of your building so that you don't have to clean up for contamination. Are those the intangibles that they talk about? Listen, we all know the RJ is in the pocket of the Democrats, and it's going to be like that for as long as we all probably live here. It's just something we accept and we move on from. So it is what it is. I wasn't surprised by the article, even though I don't think it was that bad. So, and I think, like I said, I think Kevin hit it dead on the head. It's important to have your family backing you. And I'd be more concerned if he didn't give $1,000 to your campaign. That would have been a bigger red flag to me. But
So I just want to let people know what also is in as far as the Record Journal is concerned. If you look at the American Rescue Plan, the money, the Record Journal is asking for $300,000 economic.
now that you mentioned that, I meant to ask this to Councilman Carabetta last night, and I totally forgot about it until I walked into the coffee shop this morning. Where do you guys stand on this? Listen, I love Tina. I love the downtown coffee shop where I'm there probably 3-4 days a week. I am 150% against the city of Meriden picking and winning winners and losers with giving economic funds to. I know they requested 100,000 across the street at the Silver City Firearms. They want 75,000. Down the street wants 25,000. This stuff is what really, really gets to me when it comes to government. Is that, again, there are hundreds of businesses in the city of Meriden that probably had some hardship during COVID, but giving out free money to these businesses, I am totally against. Totally against. Where do you guys stand on it?
Well, as you look at West Haven with that 600 and some odd $1,000, no paper trail, none whatsoever. And the sad part about it is there is nothing on that form that tells you exactly what we're going to break this down. Like I said, the coffee shop, $100,000.
Well, the thing to me is that is being done with no finances, no, there's just nothing to it. And that, I think that's the thing that bothers me is, well, so many things bother me about it. Listen, this $36 million should go to do things in the city that are going to benefit most of the city. To sit there and say I'm going to pick and choose these businesses, whether or not I don't even know how you choose them, because again, there's no financial records you have to disclose or anything. So it's like, what, do you just pick and choose which ones you like or which ones you maybe go to? I just don't get how they're going to pick and choose. And just in and of itself, I would highly doubt Filler Up would get anything from the city council. So should I apply for it if they give it to other people and then sue them for not giving it to me? I mean, it opens the city up to so many different legalities that I think would be detrimental to the city as a whole. So I don't like this whole picking winners and losers.
One other thing on the American Rescue, as I attended that meeting, and I said, how did we come up with two priorities? One was the $1.9 million. The other one was for $375,000 for an administrator for the American Rescue Plan. And this person was going to get $75,000 a year plus benefits. I told Mr. Cohn, my wife will do it for $35,000. She's out of work. Anybody can do this job. You don't need a grants administrator to put this thing forward. All you do is file the paperwork.
Yeah. Listen, these people love grants in this city. They do. They live off of it. It's like their heroin. Is that when they hear free money, which again is never free, they get super excited. That's why they love affordable housing so much. So here's a question for me, since it is my show. I might as well ask a couple of questions while I'm here. Are you guys for any more affordable housing in the city?
Myself, no. We have our quota. And
we're well above our quota.
Yes. And if you saw in Southington, they said they don't want to put it in there.
Southington's in a battle for affordable housing.
And I'm saying, when I was working in the post office in Cheshire, they told Cheshire, well, you have to come up with affordable housing. So they built some condos at the cost of $127,000 each. That's their affordable housing. And I don't know.
I'm not for it. It's stunting our growth, or economic growth. And that's what we need to concentrate on now.
Absolutely. It definitely has. Again, downtown is a prime example of when we sit there and say is when you say it stunts the growth of the city, downtown should be the leading example of what it does when you put too much in one area. So, but guys, I thank you for coming in. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. And again, 5 days left. So what are your plans for the next 5 days?
Come hell or high water, I'll be out there. I'll be knocking on doors. Tomorrow it's going to rain. Saturday's going to possibly rain or whatever. But I just put the emphasis on the people to get them to get out there and vote. You've got this right. It's a God-given right because of the fact that you can go out there. But please look at every possible avenue and everything. Don't just be hoodwinked by all those, especially the letters to the editor.
Yeah. And listen, I didn't even get into the letters to the editor. I mean, the they're just a joke. Listen, those people are living in parallel universes. I have absolutely no idea, what half of them, I don't know where half of them have been that they're actually saying this. And the ones that do actually speak the truth, again, is just another reason to vote Republican and not Democrat.
Again, I just want to thank you, Joe, personally, because
You got to get up on the microphone. Dan can't hear you.
Again, thank Joe for having us on this podcast again. This is something you people can see out there. You can hear what we have to say. And again, come November 2nd, it's your decision. And as my wife wrote it in the letter to the editor, vote with your wallet.
Listen, people vote with emotion, and that's a problem. You can't vote for emotion. When it comes down to it, you need to do what's best. And I know it's human nature to do, but people have to. It's pure insanity what the hell is going on, and the fact that it blows my mind every election when I see Democrats get reelected, because to me it just doesn't make any sense, and I just don't know how anyone could ever just not see what's going on. But we'll see what happens. So, Elaine, what do you got for the last 5 days?
Sign waving in the morning, sign waving at night. Weekend, I'm going to be still knocking on doors. I have palm cards I still have to get rid of.
So you got Bob Stefanowski coming down on Saturday, right?
Yep, I am. I have him here coming 3 o'clock on Saturday.
So I think that's good. He's going to be down. He's going to be at the Meriden Wine and Spirit with you, right?
Yes.
So you're getting endorsed. Did I just blow the? Did I just?
Yeah, it's kind of already out there.
It's already out there. Okay, so I don't feel bad then. So Bob Stefanowski will be down here on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Some great new business owners over there on South Broad Street, Meriden Wine and Spirit. That's where the Green Olive is. They just bought that location. So a couple of fine young ladies, women owned, yes. So I know you will be there on Saturday with them. Yes. So if anybody wants to join them, I think it's great. It's nice seeing some new people in the city that are trying to build it up. So kudos to them. And Bob will be down here at 3 o'clock. So, and he'll give his endorsement to you. And
graciously accept it.
Of course. But. All right, guys. Well, like I said, thank you again. It was a pleasure having you guys, as always. Guys, 5 days left. We're going to have a show on Sunday. We're going to have a show on Monday night. And then... we'll
see him at the polls.
And then we'll see you guys at the polls. And we'll give our intentions for Election Day. We will have people around the city giving us updates on things. So... we'll see you again on Sunday. So until then, be safe, be informed, and make sure you are getting the word out about these great candidates. They need your help. We need them in City Hall. So make sure you get out there and help them out as much as possible. If you have not signed up for anything to come and help out on Election Day, you can still reach out to the Meriden Republicans at meridenrepublicans@gmail.com. And make sure we get people there to help out. A lot needs to be done. So, and they need your help. So until then, God bless you. God bless this great city of ours. And of course, as always, God bless our country. We love you guys, and we will see you again on Sunday. Good night.
And the million faces formed together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender faith. It's like a fire that never bursts to embers. The voice of the unheard.